Welcome to Attican Plays Railway Empire. All right, welcome to another Railway Empire video. This is Attican, and I'm kind of psyched today because I get to play. I've been doing all this uber nerd stuff with spreadsheets and tests and all that stuff, and I think we've gotten some really good information out of it, but today we're going to apply it to a scenario, and we're going to apply it to one that is pretty tough, the automobile. This is set in 1910 in the Midwest, and it's considered hard by the developers, and that we know the mediums are not easy, so this one's going to be a doozy. We're going to start in Chicago with 800K. One competitor will bump up the AI to very hard, and we'll bump the ticket prices to reduce, so we make less money on our runs. Okay, let's get going here.
We'll just wrap them all around our little finger.
And I've had a look at this. In fact, true confession, I've already failed this once. And I know exactly why I failed, and it's one of the things I'm going to show you here that I think is probably tripping people up. But we're definitely going to use the trickster because she's going to help us with auctions, and they're going to come in big in this one. And she gives us cheap locomotives, and you know how I love to make trains. Okay, so...
Personally, I'm not convinced that traveling alone in such an automobile is at all desirable. It's so much safer and more comfortable on rails. But we can also profit from it, as automobiles also require lots of raw materials. And how are they transported?
Okay, so I'll show you the objectives later when we have a break, when we're kind of waiting on money or something, because I don't want to waste time. And now this one is time critical, but it's not rushed by any stretch. So we start in Chicago, and we already have meat, paper, and automobile. That's that automobile, of course, is a new one. It's for this scenario. It may be in others too. I don't know. So we're making automobiles in Chicago. Well, somebody is. And the whole mission is about getting the two things that an automobile plant needs in this game, which are steel and gasoline. So when we go around the map, and I won't make you look at the whole thing, and I'm not going to pretend I haven't seen it because I have. I've already, like I said, I've tried this once, and I also have studied it a little bit just to kind of think it through. But the key places for us are these. Up here in the north, near Duluth, there's a coal mine and an iron ore mine. So those are the two things that you need for a steel industry. The steel industry is one of the two things you need for the cars. So obviously one of the things we're going to have to do is get a steel industry going, feeding it with those and going to our cars. So now that we know about the length of the runs and the freight rates, obviously the sweetheart place to have that steel mill would be Duluth. But we'd be happy with Rochester. We'd be happy with Madison. Just about anything. Yeah, this would be Sioux Falls would be pushing it a little bit, and Fargo would be ridiculous to go all the way back to Chicago. But Duluth would just be lovely. Okay, so that's one of the two things we need. The other thing we need is down here. We've got oil, and we need to make gasoline. And the game is set up. You make gasoline by opening a refinery and sending it oil. So that's the other half of the magic equation of what we need to make our automobiles. So we need to have a refinery somewhere. Well, there's no refineries on the map yet. But the other thing is, and again, I'm not going to open these up, but I'll tell you. See how big St. Louis is? Four bars. It's a size 4 city, but it only has one industry. That tells us there's an open slot there. And there's another one, I believe. Let's see, Rochester is also 4 bars. So there has to be an open slot because it only has one business open. So what they've done is give us the opportunity, if we chose to, we could go right in and plop down a refinery down here, which would be just lovely near the oil, and then ship it up to Chicago, nice straight shot. We could go up here and plop down a steel industry, and then run our raw materials down to that steel industry and run those nice straight shot in Chicago. We'd be done, right? The only problem is we can't possibly afford that, not even close. We only have 800 grand, and with a couple of bonds, we still don't have enough to even begin to do that. So what we're going to do is play this what I would call the Attican way. We're going to make some money and get a strong economy going, and then we'll worry about what's going on. So how do we make money at the beginning? Well, we all know it's find a beer and meat line, a line that has beer on one end and meat on the other end. So we're here in Chicago, so we're starting with meat. So where's our good runs? Well, Grand Rapids would be a good one. Indy would be a good one. Toledo would not. Madison would not. Rock Island would be. And St. Louis would be. So there's several. There's like 4 good ones right around us. The only thing is, these are in the wrong direction because we need to get over here to ship stuff. So we want to go this way. And if we go to Rock Island, look what happens when you go to Rock Island. Here's beer. Well, the next one we'd look for is meat. Look down here. Got Columbia and Kansas City. We could make our choice. Straight line shot, short line, very profitable, excellent. And the other one, to go up north to get the steel industry going, we could go to Rochester. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build a line Chicago, Rock Island up to Rochester, and Rock Island down to Columbia. And that'll give us 4 nice cities connected with 1, 2, 3 good beer meat lines running, and we should be off to a pretty good start if we do that. So let's stop talking for a minute and start doing. So I'm going to connect up. Let's connect. We'll start with a regular train station, but it's going to be upgraded pretty soon, I'm fairly certain. And I want to think about the orientation. Now we're going to start with a large train station. We know we're going to 2 cities for this one. Okay, so the first one, let's go up to Rochester. And we're going to leave that top one open in case we want to run any kind of supplies out. So we would want to go, where's Rochester? Something like that. All right, so in Rochester, we're going to use a regular train station because we know we're going to run supplies in there. We know we're going to run our coal and iron ore in there, we hope. And if not, let me turn it a little bit. Yeah, so we can, sorry, ahead of myself. So much planning, I forgot to do any building. Okay. All right, let's set up our line between Chicago and Rock Island. And Chicago, I want to use, I really want to reserve this for later. No, I don't. No, I'm sorry. Thinking out loud here. Let's go with this one. Save this one for bringing in any kind of raw materials if we decide to go that route. Okay. Now, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh boy, tough call there. Okay. $114. Hard to argue with that. Okay. $143, which makes it almost exactly like our test data. So that's a Toledo to Grand Rapids line, if I ever saw one. Now we are in a much later time period, so let's see if we got any better trains. And I've looked at that and, no we don't. Okay, Chicago to Rock Island. All we got's old Maud, who only goes 40 miles an hour. And Rock Island to Chicago. Maud again. And, would 2 do it? Let's run one more. All right, we'll run 3 trains. And those of you who know my play, it's hard for me to only run 3 trains, but that's what we'll do. All right, let's get up here to Rochester, like I was trying to do earlier. turn it so it can turn if we need to go up to Duluth. We can do that. And we'll come out of this one. And which one did we use? 1, 2, 3. Leave that one. Take that one. I'm leaving this top one, platform 1, in case we want to run supplies into Rock Island from up north. And that may or may not happen. We'll see. I don't think it will. It will, but not in that way. That doesn't need to be that expensive. Let's get a shorter bridge. Dig less earth. There, that looks pretty good. And we're broke, of course. We embrace our debt. And we move on.
You have connected cities with rails for the first time.
Now, did I goof up already? Did I forget to set my signals? I did. Got out of order, didn't I? Didn't follow my own process. That's better. All right. So this time I will follow my own process. It's amazing at how out of practice you get at the talking while you play thing. It really is a different feeling. Oops. Whoops. Come on. All right, so, and again, I'm going to hold back. We're just going to run 4 trains here. Even though this is a pretty long line. But look at all that nice meat, all that profit. Okay, there's 2. Now let's work our way down to Columbia. Do we have any money? We do not. Let's just watch it run for a minute and see if these lines are going to make us any money. Oh, and while that's happening, here's what we got to do. Connect 3 cities, we just did. Load, transport steel, transport gasoline. The only place you can send these things is to Chicago. That's the only place that'll consume them. Have 3 cities. This is, I think, a challenging one. Have 3 cities of at least 120,000. So we're going to have to do some city growing. We're going to have to move some automobiles. That won't be a problem if we do these. And we're going to have to buy some automobile factory. We're going to have to go into the car business ourselves and then grow Toledo a lot. And pull all your competitors out. There's only one. We'll get rid of him. And produce gasoline. So we're going to have to own refineries and upgrade them and maybe own more than one. So we'll see how that goes. And here's the other thing. This is where I messed up. This is why I didn't win. I didn't bother to look around and realize, look at this. There's a thing called an automobile warehouse. Takes in automobiles to export them throughout the entire country. In other words, it's a constant demand for automobiles, because if you didn't have that, there would be no demand for automobiles, because they don't come up until way down here population wise at the very end. It's like 115,000, and that's look at, ooh man, we're rolling in money. My goodness, wake up, Danny. We are rolling here. So let's go down here and put in a train station in Columbia. Use this guy to go to this guy. Okay. Okay, it's time to think about repairs. We do want this one not because we want to run it, but because of our research strategy.
Excuse me, but could you keep out of this? You're driving the price up.
We want to get over here and get this guy, which is 8% increase in our profit on freight. And then there's another one right here that we want to work our way over to.
Oh dear, there seems to be a little problem with one of your locomotives.
And since we're playing Beatrix, we're going to want to buy her out early. She's very annoying. After I get this line in, I'll worry about, repairs. Okay, we need 103, let's call it 140 to put in a tower in the line. All right, gentlemen, keep going, make us some money. They're doing all right so far, aren't they? Very nice. And we know the beer to wheat, based on our tests we did just recently, the beer to meat lines are about twice as valuable as a beer to beer or wheat to wheat, or sorry, beer to beer or meat to meat. They carry more because they have the freight they're carrying. So you do much better in the early game with the beer to meat. That's why this is so lovely. They just set it up so nicely for us. We go out here and then we can go meet in both directions to get us down near where we need to be anyway. So this was a great way to get there. All right, there's our other line. A little shy on a warehouse, or a supply tower. So let's wait a moment. And this dude,
How sweet.
we do want.
You have a new toy.
And this is sad to me, but watch what we're going to do. We get this Berkshire, which is cheap, and it's actually an express train, but it has 105 tractive power. So we are going to grab $159,000 by converting all those trains, and then use that money to get our next line going here. And you'll notice I'm not putting in all the interim signals yet. That will perhaps come, but right now I want these trains on these lines to spread out a bit so they're not ripping into the station one right after the other. So let's do 4 trains here. Columbia to Rock Island. We'll run our nice cheap Berkshires.
Faster and faster all the time. That has nothing to do with traveling in style.
And Rock Island to Columbia. Nice cheap train. And we'll clone it. And clone the other end. And now we've got ourselves 4 trains and we've got some extra money left. And let's look. Oh, did you see that? St. Louis is still empty, but look up here. That is a steel industry. Beautiful, love you, thank you. Mister, you just made a good investment, whoever you are. You, Mr., ma'am, whoever you are.
Who reads the papers these days anyway?
So now it would be really tempting at this point to say, oh gosh, let's start shipping steel. The steel, even if we have the line we're set up to go to Chicago, the steel will only ship for a while because that plant has to have steel and gasoline. And without both, what's gonna happen is that it's called its import warehouse, which is the quantity that it can store of steel in the warehouse. Once that's full and it doesn't have any demand because we don't have any connection to Toledo yet, so there's no only demand could possibly be in Chicago. I don't know if there is any. Let's see. It's 100,000 people. No, see, there's 0 demand for it there, so it would have no place to go. So once the import warehouse got filled and the export warehouse was filled, so in other words, there's no space for it to hold those anymore, it would shut down. And when it did, this would shut down and our shipments would shut down. So the most important thing for us to do now is figure out how are we going to do a refinery. Well, look here at Columbia. We got Columbia is 36. When it hits 40, we could put one in there without even having to buy that. And we could go, if we had enough money, we could buy the meat industry and convert it to a refinery. But if we can just give them a couple of things which you'd like to do anyway, we could stoke up their growth and get them to 40, and then use our own funds to put in the refinery and own it from the get-go. So that's what we're going to try to do. So let's see here. See, he's just getting a little cattle, little logs. He could use some logs and cattle and wheat. I want to see, he's the meat guy, right? This guy here is probably not pumping enough into him. But the other side of that is, I'll worry about that. Okay, let's make sure that he's getting meat, so we keep his satisfaction up. Oh, I just used a full-blown train station for that. Oh well, faster turnaround times, right? Okay, let's run it into that empty slot. We're just going to run one train in there for now. And since it's nice and close, we'll make a good profit on it. And then wheat, corn. Is he getting any corn? Corn. He's good on corn. Milk he doesn't care about. Cotton he doesn't care about. Meat, of course, he makes his own. Beer, he's actually getting more from Des Moines than he is from Rock Island. And that's no good. That's no good at all. But he's growing. Here we go. We've got him up to growing. We're going to bring in some meat, which will help a little, should push him over the edge. No, the edge the other way. Yeah, he's dropping again. What's happening? Corn and logs. Corn and logs. There's logs. I guess I can take advantage of that mistake I made. Run right through the station. I think I did that backwards. What's you go? No, no. I'll be all right. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, he's growing again. The logs will help a little bit. Let's make sure our cattle are coming out of, what line is that? Line 1. All right. All right, now we're going to see something. So we're going to be a little patient. That's not in my nature. But we're going to be a little patient to get our refinery. So we need the money to get that refinery. So if we can pay off a bond, we will do it. And see, the money's coming in nicely.
You really should pay more attention to the maintenance of your locomotives.
Because we didn't fool around with any of this one train, one line crap. Okay, how big a one can we get? All right, we can 370. That's we can get it and pay off the other one. I think we're going to do a double dipper here. We're going to, if when the time comes. We still got to watch this guy. Oh, it's already here. So we want to build a refinery for $500,000. So we got to come up with $500,000 as quickly as we can. Well, we got it. That wasn't hard. Okay. So, boom. And refinery. Put it close to the station. Now we've got both of them. Now we are cooking with gas. Okay. We're going to go up here and grab our research for the extra fee on the freight and start setting up our two lines.
You can't
Whoops.
win everything.
That is not right. All right, we're going to go over here and grab the oil that we want. And we want to give it its own dedicated line for sure. Time to bump you up. And run you in there.
don't make such a fuss. A bit of bad press never hurt anyone.
That seems like a lot, doesn't it? Let's see if we can...
Oh no! It looks like one of your trains has a problem.
Let's go with it. All right, we'll just hang on. We'll assume that our money-making machine here is still going to make us some money. Oh, what are they giving us? 157. Oh, gosh. I feel sleazy doing this to the people of Kansas City, giving them hope, and I'll probably never build another thing there. Where are we? Where are we? I'm not sure we got the bonus. Let's go, come on. All right, all right. Oh, I did a better job. 165. We'll take that. That's cheaper. Once we get this one set up and running, we'll run up there and get going on the north. Probably should do it first, but, you know. All right, let's wrap this one up. It's getting pretty long, and we've off to a great start. We've got 4 strong cities. We've got 3 great city-to-city lines pumping out money for us. We actually already own a refinery, and we have access to a steel mill in one of our cities. So in the next episode, we'll continue with this and get those raw materials going into those 2 key plants and start shipping stuff to Chicago. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Railway Empire video. Thank you.